Docket number 1884, CR 252, the Commonwealth versus Bryon Hefner. The parties present.
Present, Your Honor.
Counsel could identify themselves for the record, please.
Morning, Madam Clerk. Jennifer Smith on behalf of the Commonwealth.
How do you spell that name?
S-N-O-O. Thanks.
Ian Pullenbaum, also on behalf of the Commonwealth. Madam Magistrate, I'm appearing as not as an ADA, but as a Special Assistant AG on this case.
Good morning, Tracy Miner for Bryon Hefner Rosenberg, and I have no other appearance.
Thank you. And the defendant is present.
And the defendant is present.
And the defendant went to probation this morning.
Yes, Madam Magistrate.
Commonwealth, does this case involve any allegations of domestic violence? It does not. We're ready for arraignment.
Thank you. Bryon Hefner, on the 29th day of March in the year of our Lord 2018, the grand jury in the county of Suffolk returned the following indictments. Do you waive the formal reading? How do you plead to indictment 1884 CR 252001, charging indecent assault and battery on a person 14 or over? Indictment 2, indecent assault and battery on a person 14 or over. Indictment 3, indecent assault and battery on a person 14 or over. Indictment 4, indecent assault and battery on a person 14 or over. Indictment 5, indecent assault and battery on a person 14 or over. Indictment 6, open and gross lewdness and lascivious behavior. Indictment 7, dissemination of a visual image of a nude or partially nude person. Indictment 8, dissemination of a visual image of a nude or partially nude person. Indictment 9, dissemination of a visual image of a nude or partially nude person. Indictment number 10, dissemination of a visual image of a nude or partially nude person. Question of bail, Madam Magistrate.
Okay, Commonwealth, statement of the case.
Yes, Madam Clerk. The defendant, Bryon Hefner, is charged with engaging in a pattern of assault and exploitive conduct that spans several years. He targeted both young men and older men and committed these assaults in both public and private settings. Specifically, with respect to person 1, on June 18th of 2015, the defendant assaulted this man while at the defendant's home in Boston by putting his hand repeatedly over the man's genitals, despite the man continuously pushing him away. This man was only able to get away from Mr. Hefner by hiding in the bathroom for a period of time and then leaving the apartment when a mutual friend arrived. With respect to the same person, on April 19th of 2016, this person found himself in a professional setting with Bryon Hefner. They were riding in a car together from one event to another, and Bryon Hefner groped his penis again in the back of a car while they were sitting next to each other. Person 1 again pushed his hand away and told Mr. Hefner to screw off. At the next event they traveled to that same night, person 1 and Bryon Hefner ended up sitting at a table next to each other. Bryon Hefner again grabbed person 1's penis. Person 1 did not want to make a scene at the table, so he got up to take a phone call and stayed as long as he would. All of these acts were done without this person's consent. Person number 2, on August 21st of 2016, attended a gathering for a friend's birthday. He did not know Mr. Hefner well, but had met him once before. At some point during this gathering, Mr. Hefner told person 2 that he thought he was hot. As they were leaving the roof deck of an apartment, the defendant grabbed person 2 and forcibly kissed him on the lips against his will. With respect to person number 3, this is an individual who became close friends with Mr. Hefner in the summer and fall of 2014. One night while they were at Mr. Hefner's condo in Boston, Mr. Hefner assaulted person 3 by sticking his hand down his pants and touching his penis over his underwear. He assaulted person 3 in this manner several other times over the course of their relationship, but person 3 was able to anticipate it on the other occasions and fight him off. On June 30th of 2016, person 3 had been planning on going to a party hosted by person 1. The defendant invited himself to that party, but person 3 knew that person 1 did not want Mr. Hefner at that party, so he instead took him to his home. Mr. Hefner then started to antagonize person 3, eventually dropping his pants and displaying his penis and his buttocks to him. Person 3 was shocked and upset that Mr. Hefner would antagonize him in this way in his own home. Person 4 attended a conference with the defendant in December of 2013. After a night of drinking, he recalled being in a hotel suite with the defendant. He woke up the next morning in his own bed naked, with no memory of how he got there. Several years later, person 4 learned that the defendant was in possession of naked photos of him. person 4 never consented to these photos being taken or being shown to anyone. Investigators located 4 people to whom the defendant had shown these photos. These photos depicted person 4's penis and or buttocks. And the defendant, and speaking to the people that he showed these photos to, appeared proud that he had these photos. He told 3 of these people who person 4 was, and one of the people to whom he showed these photos actually recognized person 4, having known him personally. Those are essentially the facts of these indictments.
Okay, and with respect to bail?
I think we are agreed on personal recognizance with conditions of release, that the defendant stay away and have no contact with the victims, that he stay away and have no contact with witnesses who have either testified before the grand jury or been interviewed, excluding 2 parties who are known to both the Commonwealth and the defendant. We can provide those names to probation.
Okay.
That the defendant stay away from the Massachusetts State House and its grounds, that he keep probation apprised of his current address, and that he report to probation 2 times per month by telephone, and that he surrender his passport to the Boston Police Department.
Which he has done.
Okay, report to probation 2 times a week by telephone,
2 times per month by telephone.
2 times per month. All right, and those are agreed?
Yes,
Okay, and with respect to your protective order?
Yes, I believe it's agreed to by counsel.
it is.
Okay, so with respect to the protective order, this is going to be allowed by agreement without prejudice and can be reviewed in the first session at any time should anybody want to have that reviewed. And we're going to set a track for this case. So this is going to be a track B, which is a 9-month track, so we need to set a trial date, 9 months from today. Let's see. So January of 2019, I suggest January 21st for trial.
Your Honor, I have an 11-week trial starting in federal court on a healthcare fraud case involving 8 defendants.
All right.
January 20th. So if we could move this out just a tad and move it to like March.
It's fine with the Commonwealth.
Okay. All right, so what's the date that you both agreed to in March of 2018? How about March 25th?
March 25th is fine, Your Honor.
Fine.
March 25th for trial. This is going to be in courtroom 806. That's a Monday final pretrial. So March 25th is the trial date. How about March 11th for final pretrial?
It's fine.
That'll be a 2 p.m. call in 806. And then we're going to need a midpoint. Why don't we say, how about September 20th for midpoint? That'll be a 9 o'clock call in the first session, courtroom 704.
September 20th, I'm sorry.
September 20th,
That's fine.
2018 for midpoint, first session. And then a pretrial conference here in the magistrate session.
We said June 13th, if that's available.
Sure. All right, so with respect to bail, the parties have both proposed and agreed that there will be a personal recognizance. I'm presuming that Mr. Hefner has been aware of these charges. He came here on his own. He showed up on his own recognizance. He's made no attempt to flee. I presume, Attorney Minor, he's known about this
We have.
for quite some time. And here he stands before the court, so I'm going to adopt the parties' recommendations for personal recognizance. I'm going to adopt all of the conditions as outlined by the Assistant Attorney General, that he stay away, have no contact with the victims, any witnesses. The names will be provided to probation so that there's no question about who you're to remain away from, Mr. Hefner. Stay away from the State House grounds. I don't know if you want to provide a map so that there's no question as to what that means.
I think we'll be fine.
Okay? Report to probation 2 times a month by telephone. And there was one more condition, Assistant
Surrender the passport, but we've done
Surrender.
that.
Surrender the passport, which has been done, and so you're not to apply for any new passports, and you're not to regain possession of that passport while this case is pending. Thank you. That's it. The protective order was allowed by agreement.
Bryon Hefner, the court's ordering your release on your own recognizance without prejudice. You're advised if you're charged with a crime during your release, the recognizance may be revoked in accordance with general laws. Chapter 276, Section 58. You're to have no contact, direct or indirect, with the alleged victims and witnesses. You're to report twice per month telephonically to the Department of Probation. You're to surrender your passport and not to apply for a new passport. Further, you're to stay away from the grounds of the Massachusetts State House. This is a Track B case to be tried in courtroom 806, March 25, 2018. March 11, 2018, room 806. at 2 o'clock for final pretrial hearing. September 20th, 2017, in the first criminal session, pretrial hearing, 9:30 a.m. June 13th, 2017, in the clerk magistrate session for a pretrial conference at 9:30 a.m.
And Attorney Minor, would you have your client report to probation so that he can sign the conditions?
Yes, we will.
And to make sure that we have notice of the names of those witnesses he's to stay away from. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam
Thank
Magistrate.
you.